So I had a little layover in Tokyo on my way to Southeast Asia. And I had heard that Imanari had just sort of opened or reopened, I'm not really sure, his school. So obviously I was going to jump at the chance to go train with Imanari. I hit him up. He said, come through. And so I got up bright and early that morning and tried to make sense of the Japanese railway system, which anybody who has been there knows can be a bit overwhelming, to say the least. Not to mention that the entire address system is flip-flopped, where in the States, in the West, we name streets. In Japan, they name blocks, so the physical space rather than the path that gets you there. But anyways, I managed to find the place after I started my morning with a conveniently packaged hot coffee from the railway system. They have these amazing vending machines that not only give you cold drinks but also hot drinks, like hot coffee in a nice metallic can, which was a pretty cool moment to just be looking over the metropolis of Tokyo and, like, you know, everything you imagine it to be, just buildings and lights, and be sipping this surprisingly tasty coffee out of a metal can in the middle of winter there. So I get to his place, basically figure out Imanari doesn't speak the best English. He knows a little bit, but some of his training partners were able to talk with me, get the lowdown and whatever, and we started training. And one of the interesting things about those sessions was that the schools I've been to in the States and even down in Peru, you'd spend about, 10 minutes doing like a warm-up. Then you go right into technique, which takes up the bulk of class, and then you finish with some rolls. And interestingly, there it was a good chunk doing like drills, all of these different setups for leg locks, and because Imanari is, the originator of the Imanari roll and is just a wizard with leg locks and that this whole system that he's developed. So they spent like a good half hour just drilling all these different entries and all these different leg locks. And then after that, there's no like, okay, we're going to learn a new technique. It was just roll, and rolled for hour and a half, 2 hours straight. And there was probably only 4 or 5 of us, I would say. So, everybody was getting plenty of rounds, and I was pretty excited that, because sometimes a superstar, martial artist will just kind of once they've proved themselves, they could easily just kind of sit in the background and just teach. But Imanari was just getting after it with everybody, and invited me to roll with him, which was obviously an honor and also terrifying and painful. Him and everybody at that school, but of course especially him, it felt like you were grappling with an anaconda. Everything was tight. Every hold, every lockdown, every muscle had a use. And that is important when you're someone that's the size of Imanari. But it just felt like he had complete control of every muscle fiber in his body. And despite being that small, once you were in his grips, it was game over. You're just slowly being constricted and manipulated, and the air is slowly being squeezed out of you. And I mean, as a guy with long legs walking into that school where there's just a bunch of leg lock assassins was an interesting move, but I had never really experienced that before, so I wanted to kind of see what it was all about, and their whole system was pretty mind-blowing. Like, I just was not even aware of the kind of little setups that they were doing, and they were just terrorizing my legs. The thing that I noticed about everybody there at the school is, like, they did not, I mean, this kind of happens anytime you go to a new school, but especially with these people. Like, Imanari, UFC guy, he doesn't have anything to really prove, but that didn't stop him from just, like, leg locking me time and time again, like within 20-30 seconds, like just not holding back whatsoever, even after the 25th time. The other thing you notice is, like, every time someone taps the other person out, there's like an eruption of laughter every single time. And I'm not going to make some sort of cultural statement there, but it was just interesting to notice that they thought it was hilarious anytime anybody tapped out. I don't know. Interesting there. But had a good couple of days training with those guys. They put me on to some great places to eat. Great ramen and great sushi. The ramen was a super cool experience because so you show up and there's a little vending machine kind of thing outside, and it's got all these pictures of the different ramen dishes that you can order. So you pick one and you put your money in, and it pulls out a little slip, and that's sort of like the kind of slip you get at a butcher's place or a deli or something like that. And then you go in and it's just a counter, and people are shoulder to shoulder and tight quarters even for the chefs back there. But it's just beautiful to watch these masters of ramen. They have nowhere to move, and yet they're just like really quickly moving around each other. There's hot water and steam and noodles flying, and everybody is moving with like the most artistic precision ever. And that really is what I love about Japan, is that even the ramen guys are doing jiu-jitsu. Like, they're taking that same sort of care and appreciation for what they're doing that someone might do in a martial art or a artistic art like pottery or painting or something like that. That is everywhere in the culture in Japan. Everybody gives a fuck about what they're doing, no matter what it is, even if it's cleaning or building or whatever. That job is given all the love and all the attention. Who knows why, but that is just an aspect of the culture that I saw over and over again. So I love that about Japan. So shout out to Imanari and the guys out there. Thanks for an awesome session and for putting me on to the great foods. Alrighty, over and out. Thank you.